All right, concept 5, graphing y equals ab to the x with b being between 0 and 1. Okay, so this is kind of our last type of exponential graph. We now have a fraction, or sometimes a decimal, that we are raising to our power, okay, raising to our x variable. And basically this is going to change, it's going to kind of flip our graph and how it looks. So let's choose some values and plug it in and let's see. So if we start with 0, 0 is always the easiest one. Okay, anything to the 0 power is 1. So we've got 4 times 1 is 4. So x is 0, y is 4. All right, if we go to 1, if x is 1, well 1/2 to the 1 is 1/2. So 4 times 1/2 is 2. So at 1 we've got a 2. At 2, we've got our x, we've got 1/2 raised to the power of 2, or 1/2 squared, which would be 1/4. 4 times 1/4 is 1. So at 2 we've got 1. And if we went to 3, we've got 1/4 when we go to the power of 2. So then we're going to have 1/8. If we go to the power of 3, 1/8 times 4 is going to be 1/2. Okay, and we can kind of see what our curve is looking like. But if we extended it, this is going to be going down by 1/2. This is going to be increasing, doubling as we go backwards, or as we decrease our x value. So if it's 4 here, it would be 8 out here. If it's 1/2, it would be down to 1/4. Okay, and that's going to be our graph. Oops. Something like that, getting really shallow. Okay, and again, our curve is really similar. Okay, our curve looks like all the other graphs we've made. This one just happens to get really close to the x-axis as you increase in the x value. Okay, so that is the difference when you have a fraction in for b, right? The higher my x, the smaller that fraction, meaning the closer we get to x. Okay, that would be true as well if this was, say, -4. The only difference there is instead of coming up and getting close, coming down and getting really close to the x-axis, we'd be really close to the x-axis and then coming down with those same kind of values, right? Having a negative on my a just flips my graph, kind of mirrors it, reflects it over the x-axis. Having a b that is above 1 will kind of flip my graph over the y-axis. Okay, so if I had these same values, say I had my 4, but instead of 1/2 I had 2, then my graph would look something. Oh, my pen's gone, but it would look something like this. Okay, that's kind of what my graph would look like. All right, so you can get a good idea of what your graph is going to look like just by looking at the values, your a and b. Is this a fraction, or is this a whole number, or is this a negative or a positive?